Hmm. Oh. Zoe, hush. Come here. Zoe. Zoe, no. Zoe, come here. Come here. Come here. Zoe. It's okay. It's okay. I promise you there's nothing. There's nobody out there. I promise you there's nobody out there. Oh, what's up, fellas? Ladies, gents, everybody else? I normally try to make sure and wear sleeves for the live streams, but the truth is, I got my second vaccine here a couple of days ago, and it pretty thoroughly knocked me on my ass. So I have been, exhausted for the last couple of days. I'm just now kind of starting to feel somewhat human again. Yeah, wow, I haven't been. I actually got the Pfizer vaccine. I know I put the funky cold Moderna thing in the, in my screen caption just because I thought it was funny, but I actually got the Pfizer one. But oof, knocked me out pretty good. I didn't, well, I mean the gal that gave me the shot, I mean, it felt like, when she felt like she got a running start and then jumped up in the air with the syringe like this before she stuck it in my arm. It hurt like hell. When I got the second one, I didn't even, the first one, I didn't even feel it. The first one was sitting there saying, "Okay, I'm ready whenever you are." And next thing, it's just, she's already done. I'm already done. She's throwing the needle into the sharps container. I was hoping this one would be a little bit about the same, but no big deal. But then it, like I said, I've been absolutely exhausted for, let's see, I got the shot Thursday, pretty much from about Friday evening, or about Thursday evening on to, well, I mean, it's going on. What is it? It's currently 2:22 here in my part of the world. I just woke up about a half hour ago. So, and I went to bed about midnight last night, which for me is insanely early on a Saturday. Oh well. So, it's done. It was important to get it done. It's done now. So, that was all that we needed. So, just getting through this and life back to normal. Let's see. All right, Zoe's still in here with me. She heard something that she was, that she thought was worth panicking over a couple minutes ago, but seems to have gotten over that pretty quick now. She's laying here on the floor. So, let's see who all is in here so far. There's 9 of you, according to the stream stats. So, what we got? Infamous Paul Adamek, Park Kingery, Mikey Gabbard, Jeff Seven, Ian Nunez, Paul Leonard Ewing, Timothy Plunk, and I think that's everybody. So, yeah. So, I got a couple of packages here that I'm going to share with you guys as soon as let's see if we get up around the 20 or 30 mark like we usually do. But one of them's kind of sort of guitar related, and the other one is not, but something I enjoy that I know some of you guys also enjoy. So several of you say, "Hope you get back to normal, feeling better quickly." I do too. I'll be okay. I'll be all right. It's just a little I think as it sits right now, I'm feeling better now than I was. So, certainly last night I spiked a fever, which that wasn't fun. But right now I'm feeling closer to back to normal now than I have been since Thursday when I got the shot. So, pardon me. So yeah. I just need to wake up, and so I'm going to hang out with you guys here for a little bit and go get some lunch, and then I got a bunch of yard work to do. And, because of, the shot, that also kind of halted my video production for the week. I got just about everything recorded, but, I haven't edited a damn thing, so I'm hoping I might be able to get some of that done, because Mrs. J also got her second shot on Thursday, and it's really hitting her hard. So she had to go to work today. So I'm pretty much expecting her to come home and conk out. So she'll probably she'll take Zoe and they'll fall asleep on the couch together this afternoon. That'll probably be that'll be about as far as she goes. I'm assuming. I just texted her a little bit ago. She said she wasn't really doing too well. So. Jerry Jones in the chat. The Jerry Jones? I highly doubt it, but at least not the one that most people are familiar with. Smash the like button. Yes, please smash the like button. Would be great. Would be great. The like button, the subscribe button. Well, if you got the notification, that I went live today, chances are you've already hit the subscribe button. But in the event that you haven't, Brian Casey says my yard work is done. I got to cut my grass. It rained like hell last weekend when I was gonna cut it then, so I didn't get to cut my grass last weekend, and so it is really long right now. And we've got some of our I've got a few of our this is the time of year when we get all of our landscaping done. So I'm actually hiring the same guy that did my landscaping last year is going to come out and do some more work for me this year. And so we're going to plant some stuff or have him do it as he's working, as he's building the beds and stuff. So. So yeah, then once we got everything planted, then it's I discovered last year that I actually really, really enjoy we had to water the shit out of those gardens last year, and we'll have to do it again this year. But we are I found that I really, really enjoy going out and putting on the headphones and and watering the garden, seeing everything grow and all that kind of stuff. So that's actually really relaxing for me. So I'm looking forward to that. Which one did you get? I got the Pfizer. I got the Pfizer vaccine. So, which is the one that which is the one that I wanted. That was the according to my research anyway. That's the one that has the most effective against all the different variants and stuff. So I don't know. They all seem to be pretty effective though. Haley Gabbard is in the chat, as in Mikey Gabbard's better half. She says, "Hi Robert, I usually just watch you with Mikey on Saturdays." So I'm assuming that's who that is anyway. Ian Nunez says, "I'm not vaccinated yet. I'm just exercising and eating healthy Mexican food." I'm eating healthy Mexican. I would what? I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen any Mexican food that I didn't love, but I'm curious to see hear what you would consider to be healthy Mexican food besides fajitas. Fajitas are generally pretty healthy, but fajitas are generally pretty good for you. Let's see. Larry Fry's here. Whiskey Romeo, WWR. So does a magnet stick to your arm? No magnets are sticking to my arms or anything like that. But I should be fully 5G compatible here within the next couple of weeks, after it all, after it works its way all the way through my system. So I'm looking forward to that. Jerry Jones says, no, not the owner of the Cowboys. I assumed you weren't, but, who was, what was his name that, I think it was Davey504 that popped in here, popped in on a live chat for just a couple of minutes once, several months back. And, you guys all saw him in there because he was in and out pretty quick. I didn't even catch it. You guys all saw him. And, I wasn't even familiar with his channel, and I went and looked him up afterwards. He's got a huge channel, a huge following, so that actually puts up pretty good content. Really good content, actually. Fried rutabaga is here, and Whiskey Romeo says non-Americanized Mexican is healthy ? Well, I'll tell you, I've been to Mexico twice, and the resort that we've stayed at actually had 5 restaurants in it, and one of them was an authentic Mexican restaurant, and it's not at all like it's quite a bit different from the Mexican food that we know here in the U.S. So. It's the best tacos I've ever had. Oh my God. I can't wait to have those again. Those tacos are incredible. But, with the exception, it's high in carbs. So, beyond that, I don't know. That's, everything is whole foods, natural, whole ingredients, that kind of stuff. So, Larry Fry says, what's your opinion on having a guitar pleked? I don't know that I would pay anybody to do it, but there's, it used to be that there was one plek machine on the planet, and Gibson owned it, and Gibson only used it on guitars that were like at that time, like $22.99. I think it was everything from the Les Paul traditionals and up that got that they would run through the plek machine, and because it was still fairly new technology, and you could definitely feel the difference. I remember playing a pleked Les Paul traditional for the first time, being really, really impressed, with the way that guitar played. So, especially compared to the lower models that were not pleked, like the the studios and the classics and stuff. Tributes weren't out yet. So I mean, does it make a difference? Yeah, absolutely. But now Gibson runs all their guitars through the plek machine. Other companies have since bought them, so I mean, it's a lot more common than it used to be. So, so unless you got a neck that's just really, really out of whack, got some really high frets or something like that, that's really, that just really everything needs to be leveled out and straightened out and that kind of stuff. Then yeah, it makes sense. I don't know what people would charge for that these days. But I can't imagine it's, I'm quite sure they're going to charge as much as they can. Oh, let's see. Fried Rutabaga says, it ain't Taco Bell. No, it ain't Taco Bell. Or even remotely close to it. Whiskey Romeo says, it is healthy, non-commercial. Actual Mexican cuisine is healthy, not cheese-laden crap. That is true. Uh, Paul Adamek says, Robert, have you ever used a flanger, phaser, or univibe when playing out? Not a univibe, but phaser, flanger a little bit. I like flangers. Most of the when I was playing out, most of the bands that I was in were all cover bands. And I don't. Maybe there's a few things here and there that I used a flanger for, but the phaser was the one that I used the most. I used a Phase 95 forever, and I still have that pedal around here somewhere, but eventually I just probably just from it getting stomped on so many different times. There's something wrong with it now because it's really, really noisy. Not like like it shouldn't be, and I've since replaced it with an MXR 95. That's when I go to grab a phaser, that's almost always the one that I grab these days. So. But yeah, I like the effect quite a bit. When I was in a cover band one time that played "Ain't Talking About Love" by Van Halen, and the intro to that song just doesn't sound right at all without a phaser. So, yep, Phase 90 set to turn that knob right at 9 o'clock, and there is your EVH "Ain't Talking About Love" setting. But yeah, no, I like using those effects quite a bit. Larry Fry says, pecked. I'm assuming you mean plucked. Of having Sweetwater do it for me. I have no idea. Did they? I think I did hear that they've got a pluck machine now. And I don't know what they're charging. So. I don't know what they're charging. Let's see. Fat Philosopher's here. Paul Leonard Ewing is on a rehearsal break. William De Silva is here. Timothy Blanc says, I bought a 2014 or 15 Les Paul that had been plucked, but the frets still needed leveling, which my luthier performed. Yeah. I mean, running a guitar through a pluck machine is not a cure-all. So I mean, it does make a difference, but it's not a it won't fix every neck problem that you've ever had. So, alrighty. I'm going to open these up here. This one this is a package from Picker's Grip. I don't know what this is. Actually, yeah, I think I do. Goddamn mailbags. He came out with some new t-shirt designs, so he sent me one. That's a nice t-shirt. All of his t-shirts are usually pretty nice. That's pretty cool. Charlottesville, Virginia, where he's from, where Picker's Grip is made. Thank you, Billy. Appreciate that. I'm going to wear that tonight. And then this guy. This is not really guitar related. This is... I get a few of you here that, Dave Escobar happens to pop in, pop into this. I know he'll be interested in this. Provided I can get into the damn thing. Let's see. Catching Ingve's live chats on Instagram. I have not. I'm not a real big Instagram person at all. I mean, I've got an Instagram account, but I mean, and I've got it linked to my Facebook, which I do use. However, I'm just not, I mean, Facebook is, pretty much all the social media that I can handle, to be honest. So, I haven't, I don't catch much of anything on Instagram. I probably should spend more time working on that, but William Sylvia says, I have a 2020 Epiphone Prophecy on the way. Have seven tried any of these Les Paul inspired guitars. I really hope I like it. 900 bones is a lot to know for sure. I think you'll probably be pretty pleased with it. Most everybody that I know that has bought one of the new Prophecies has been pretty happy with them. My understanding is the old Prophecies were great guitars. Those were some of the best guitars Epiphone ever made. My understanding is the new ones are, there's some design specs that are a little bit different from the original ones, but quality is just as good as the old ones. So I would buy with confidence. So have you tried? Like I said, honestly, when it comes to Epiphone, to be honest, I think Epiphone's quality is probably about as good right now as it's ever been. They are, the wood selection is, they've never had bad wood selection, but it's just, it's not the same as the high end USA stuff. So Epiphone guitars are, they're more consistent in weight, but they're also a little bit lighter. So, some people like, some people don't. Fluff actually, I think I saw him talking about that on his channel here just in the last couple of weeks. But, I think I wouldn't be, if I were going to buy an Epiphone right now, I wouldn't be at all, concerned with what I'm getting. I think they're pretty good. All right, this package here, this is my. Some of you guys might know I'm signed up for a quarterly watch subscription. So I pay $100 every 3 months, and then they send me a brand new watch in the mail. Or you can sign up and do it monthly or something, and that's I've really kind of gotten into watches lately. This one right here is is not a subscription watch. This one actually was purchased elsewhere, but I just like watches. So this one is one that I know they've sent out about 3 or 4 or 5 different ones here this month, so I don't know which one I'm gonna get. I'm hoping it's one in particular. Have you claimed your free points? Huh. Yep, there's the Watch Gang cards that they stick in there with it. Says, have you claimed your free points? What you didn't know, you get 50 reward points, $25 value every time you share the love Watch Gang, and that's not even the best part. Every member who signs up with your link, they also receive 50 reward points. It's an easy way to rack up points to spin higher tier wheels and cover next month's membership. Follow the link below to find your referral URL and learn more. So yeah, basically, if you want, if you are interested in a subscription with Watch Gang, let me know and I'll get you my referral link. This one, I got the Noah. Damn it. They sent out a couple of them. One of them this month was a Seiko, and that was the one I really wanted. Another one was a Pure Dial, and then the third one, this one probably would have been my third choice. One called the Noah. A brand called Noah, which it's a big boy. Supposedly an automatic, though, as opposed to a quartz watch. Because I don't really care for quartz. This is an automatic. Yep. Still kind of wanted the Seiko, though. All right. Well, is what it is. I'll wear it and see if it grows on me. Yeah. Come on. How the hell did you guys get that thing in there? There we go. Alright, there's that. Set that off to the side. Alright. Mikey Gabbard says you often talk about getting that first Gibson Les Paul. Would you buy one used or just get a brand new one? I'm also hoping to get my first one sometime soon. I'm just gonna buy a new one. I don't want to use one. For the custom that I want. The Les Paul custom that I want. And just being quite honest with you guys, I've had some. I've been planning on making that happen here at some point this year, but the truth is I just got hit pretty hard with a pretty big pile of medical bills. So, obviously that's got to take priority over me buying a guitar. But, if and when the day does come, I'm just gonna buy a new one. Just gonna buy a new one. Unless I run across a used one that's a really, really good deal, that's in like really, really pristine condition. I wouldn't be opposed to that. But yeah, no, I'm just planning on buying it new. Jojo Shabadu says, "Afternoon, Robert. I was wondering what your opinion was on guitar humidifiers. They're important. Guitars are made of wood. They got to be humidified, to some degree, in order to, in order to maintain them properly. So, they gotta have, you gotta have them. So, yeah, looks like we got a troll in there. Hang on, let me get rid of this troll out of the chat. All right, there we go. So, yeah, no, they're important. Humidifiers are important. With acoustics. You can buy the little cheap $12, $15 ones that they're basically just like a cup and a sponge. Wet the sponge and then slide it down in between the strings. Music Nomad makes a really, really good one that, the sponge is really, really dense, so it holds water for quite a bit longer than some other ones out there. So you can go that route. You can go with the, actually an in-room humidifier. It may cost you a couple $100, but, if you got a lot of guitars, and you're in a relatively, dry environment, yeah, no, they're a good investment. They are a good investment because, wood gets too dry, it starts expanding and contracting, and, that's one of the biggest factors of how, guitars get damaged is, lack of humidity. Acoustic guitars in particular. Park Kingery says putting new strings on my Indiana collection. He's back in Indiana right now. He's got, I know, last I knew, I've seen some pictures of his guitars in Indiana. He's got some pretty cool stuff in his hometown. So I don't know if it's in storage or his family's house. I'm not sure, but I've seen pictures of it, including a Les Paul custom he's got from this morning, 70s Les Paul custom. Pretty good stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Fried Rutabaga says Ingve rules. Instagram sucks. Fat Philosopher says luckily I live in Japan. It's always humid. Yep, I didn't have that. I don't remember ever having any kind of humidity issues when I lived in Texas. Houston in particular. Houston is really humid, really humid. So, if you go to like Austin or San Antonio or something like that, or even Dallas, that's a little bit more dry heat. But Houston is really humid. Let's see. Fried Rutabaga says, I want a new watch every week. There for a while, when I first kind of got into watch collecting, I had them showing up all the time, and every time I put on a new one, my wife would, start grabbing my wrist and what the hell is, but, I got that initial wave thing out of my system, and I don't need a new watch every week now. Once every, a new one every few months, is just fine with me, which is what happened here. How this one came into my life. So see if I can learn to like this one. Like I said, I'm kind of disappointed that I didn't get the one that I was the one that I had hoped for, because they were. The Watch Gang, when they give out some, when they start sending out subscription watches, usually it's, they'll pick 4 or 5 of them, and whichever one you get's the one you get. Well, everybody else got theirs a lot sooner than I got mine, so I saw all their posts in the Facebook group, and, other people whose were mailed out about the same time as mine were all landing the Seiko, which I really wanted the Seiko. So, but this one's kind of a cool watch too, though. So I'm gonna try it out, and we'll wear it a time or two and see if it grows on me. My first subscription watch with them was a brand called Spinnaker, one called a Spinnaker Hunley, and I wasn't real crazy about that one either. When I first got it, and then I wore it a couple of times, and it grew on me pretty quick. Now it's actually one of my favorite watches. So, William Silva says, I love my watches too. My wife surprised me with a killer Invicta not long ago. Nice, dude. Cool. And I knew there was I share my watch. I share my watch interest with you guys every now and then, because I know there's at least a few of you out there that are also watch people. So, Jerry Jones says, I just bought a PD Stereo Chorus 212 yesterday. It's an amp from the 90s, old. Should I go have it checked out, or will it be fine? Seems to function great so far. What do you think? PV Stereo Chorus, that's those are, it's a solid state amp. But, so there's really very, very little to go wrong in it. You might need to, take it and get pots cleaned out and, stuff like, may have some build up from dust or something like that. But generally speaking, there's not really a whole lot to go wrong with them. Assuming there's not a blown speaker in it, or anything broken on it. Yeah, no, that's a good score, man. That's PV Stereo Chorus is a great solid state amp. Great solid state amp. Those are really, a lot of people like those. Fried Rutabaga says, "Know your troll, LOL." No, I don't have one of those planned for a while. One of those just went up a week or so ago. Let's see. Fried Rutabaga says they're plucking all the new Gibsons. That's the way to go. Yep, I agree. They've been, Gibson's been plucking all of their guitars for a while. I mean, that's not really a new thing. They've been doing that for 6 or 7 years now. Maybe even longer than that. Park Kingery says, wearing my Tree of Life Viking watch. I've seen a picture of that too. Those are cool. I think that's the wooden. It's a watch made of wood. If it's the one I'm thinking of, if that's the one that you showed me anyway. William Silva, speaking of humidifier, I better go re-soak mine right now. BRB. I'm not very good about keeping mine, about keeping mine damp and all that stuff. I'm not very good about that either. So, I do it every now and again. I do it when I think about it, which isn't as often as it should be. Mikey Gabbard says there's a 2020 Gibson Les Paul 60s traditional bourbon burst for sale locally on Craigslist. It looks to be in perfect condition. I'd be saving about $500. I just don't know though. 2020 Les Paul, 60s tradition. Yeah, for $500 off. So so if that's what's that, $2,000? Wait for the next, wait for your retailer, your favorite big box retailer, Guitar Center, Sweetwater, whoever. Memorial Day's coming, so 15% off coupons are going to be pretty easy to come by. So even if you get 15% off of a new one, which is what's that, 24. 25. So if it's $2,500, what's that? That's $375 off of a brand new one. So almost. So you can get you can get a brand new one for $125 more than what you're talking about. $500 off. 500. A used Les Paul, even a 2020. For $19.99, that's not a good deal. That's not a good deal. If it were 16, 17, maybe 18, that might be worth consideration. But $2,000 for a used Les Paul standard, no, that's somebody trying to recoup most of their cost. Fried Rutabaga says humid is uncomfortable. It is. I don't know. I guess I've lived in pretty humid environments most of my life. Between Houston, as I mentioned earlier, Indiana actually is really humid this time of year, believe it or not. So central Indiana, anyway, where I am. So, yeah, I've been in pretty humid environments most of my life. Stefan Derger says, Robert, do you like Dean guitars? As an 80s metalhead, they have some cool guitars in my opinion. Yeah, I like Dean guitars quite a bit actually. I own a couple of them. I've got my my 10K commemorative Razorback that I bought that one new 10 years ago, 12 years ago, I don't remember. It was more of a limited run thing that they did when they came out with that guitar. And a lot of those older Razorbacks have actually kind of shot up in value, and that was one of them. So, in fact, it's worth more now than it was when it was new. But I have that one. Is that the only Dean that I have? I guess that is the only Dean that I have at the moment. Huh. I was thinking I had more Dean guitars than that one. I guess I need to buy. No, I take it back. Well, yeah. I get I have the Cadillac that you guys keep asking me if I'm ever going to do a video on, and I keep I keep forgetting about it and not setting it up so I can do that. But I have those two. Sounds like I need to buy more Deans. I really like Cadillacs. I really like the Razorbacks. I really like the MLs. I don't know what they call their super strat models, but I've played a couple of those that feel really good too. So yeah, no, I like Dean guitars. Nothing bad to say about them at all. Let's see. Ian Nunez says, I have to cut the grass too. Should change the oil in the mower. I need to take my lawnmower over to a place nearby to get the I need to get it serviced. I took it over to get serviced last year, and they did a great job like they always do. I mean, I've been going to this place for years. They did a great job like they always did. And, they came home a couple weeks later. First thing I did was I hit a fucking tree stump with my lawnmower. So now it's all out of whack again. I got a feeling it's going to be expensive. It runs just fine, right? Even as it is, but there's a pretty serious vibration in it that I need fixed. Oh well. Let's see. Park Kingery says my stuff is having humidity issues and oxidation sucks. That is true. Too much humidity is not necessarily is not necessarily a good thing. Unfortunately, too much humidity. And there's one time I was playing at a band one time that we had our practice space was a storage shed, a non-humidity controlled storage shed, which is fine in the summertime, but we kept everything there. And especially really in the the middle of the summer when it got really really hot, because we'd have to practice. It was a big 20 by 30 foot storage shed, and we had to, so we open up the big overhead door. The ceiling was probably 20 feet. So when we practiced, in the evening we'd open up the overhead, just get some air flowing in there, and right in the middle of the summer, I come in, I come to practice every week and see, all my guitars and stuff that I'd left there. The strings were just shot, all, starting to oxidize really, really badly and rust and, necks moving and stuff every single week. So, I got to the point that I'd learned, to at least take my guitars with me, not leave them there. So too much humidity is a thing as well. Because guitars and strings and hardware and stuff like that, that's a little bit too much moisture in the air for those folk, for those things that they don't like. Ben E down in the super chat, by the way, it says if/maybe Gibson Custom Fund or throw to the channel. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that very, very much. Since we are on that topic, if you guys want to support the channel, you can certainly do so. There's a little $ icon thing down there on my screen anyway. I think it's at the bottom of the chat. I assume it's pretty close to where yours is as well. Anyway, you can support the chat or support the channel by doing so. Clicking on that, and you can also do so by clicking on the PayPal link in the description. The Teespring shop, which I just realized I forgot to pin. I'll have that pinned up here at the top of the chat as of right now. You can treat yourself to a t-shirt, although now they seem to call themselves Spring, not Teespring anymore, which is they dropped the T part, so I guess they're trying to get more into more other stuff besides just t-shirts. Anyway, but my shop, that's pretty much all that's in there is t-shirts and hoodies and stuff like that. Last but not least, there's also the PayPal there's a PayPal account in the description, and also the the Patreon. You can sign up to become a patron. That link is down in the description as well. So there is my weekly plug the channel. Support the channel thing. Thank you very much, Ben, for your contributions. I appreciate that. Very, very kind of you. Let's see. Benny says, I highly recommend Deep Blue watches. Good everyday alternative to my expensive watches at $250. Yep. I don't have anything really, really high dollar, but I'm kind of slowly showing them to you guys, and a quick 30-second segment like know your troll videos and stuff like that. So I don't I've got a couple of them that are worth several $100s, but nothing up in the 4 and certainly 5-figure range. No Rolexes, no Omegas, no Breitlings, nothing like that. As much as I'd love to have a couple of those. I've always wanted a Rolex, but they's pricey. William Silva says Dean hardtails are super sweet. I'm not too picky about hardtails versus whether they got Tremlos on them or not. Floyds or licensed Floyds or Kahlers or any of that. I like them all. I don't have to have a tremolo on every guitar. I don't have to have a hardtail on every guitar. So, Obviously, I own plenty of guitars that have both, so or have one or the other. I suppose if I had to make the choice, I would probably prefer a tremolo, just for tuning stability in a lot of cases. But Mikey Gabbard says, I didn't even think about Memorial Day deals. Thanks for the advice. Yeah, I mean, if you're kicking around buying, I don't know, man. The used guitar market, guitar players are the sleaziest money grubbing bastards ever. I saw somebody had listed their a guitar for sale on Facebook that was they had, I don't remember what it was. I mean, it was something that sells for like $8.99 or something brand new, but they changed out the hardware and they changed out they upgraded the pickups and did this, that, and the other to it. So he was asking like 50 or $100 more than what this guitar sells for brand new because of all of his stupid fucking upgrades. So, upgrades, I should say, which, those people drive me absolutely crazy. And, people to buy, brand new guitar for $900 and then they go to list it 6 months later, they're asking $800 for a used one. I mean, that's a slap in the face. If you wait for the right weekend deal, the right sales weekend or the right coupon or whatever, you can buy a brand new one cheaper than that. And you don't even have to wait that long or go that far. So, I used to have people when I was at the store, people come back and sell their gear back to us after they bought it, a couple years ago. I'll never forget one dude had this one dude brings in a Taylor. What was it? No, it was a PRS. It's a custom 20. I can't remember if it was a 22 or 24. Must have been a 22. I think it was a custom 22. I remember because I remember looking at it and eyeballing it, and I'd seen so many of them on the used market at that point. I knew that. I remember as soon as I looked at it, I said that's worth about 14. That's about what I need to sell that for. And and he told me, he's wanting 18 for it, and he's, and usually, when somebody brings in, they say, this is what I have, I want this much for it. Usually, the right thing to do is say, okay, let me look into it, and actually go do the research and see, see what they're actually bringing, and this, because maybe they're right, maybe the price isn't out of the question. That one I'd seen so many times, and that one I just knew. He said, I want 18 for this one. I was like, I can tell you right now, I'm not going to be able to get anywhere near that number. If you want 18, just in the interest of respecting your time, there's no way I'm going to even come close. He said, well, I paid 18 for it a couple years ago, so well, that's great. One, you pay too much, which is not my problem, and number two, I'm only going to resell it for 14, which means, at that time, I think I offered him 9, maybe $1,000, something like that. Oh, well. It is what it is. William Cooper says, I'm in Northern Ohio and I've been running out dehumidifier. If I don't, the humidity gets 70+%. So I try to DK, I try to keep the humidity around 50%. There we go. Okay. That makes sense. Yep. 40, usually around 40 to 50%, maybe up around 60, is usually kind of where you want to be. William Silva says Hardtail is a model that they make. Dean actually makes a model called the Hardtail? Really? That must be a new one. Dean Hardtail. Oh, okay. Like a double cut PRS looking kind of thing. That, in fact, has a hardtail on it. Yeah, like kind of somewhere between a Super Strat and a PRS. This one is... There's a reverb list. It looks like somebody had a little bit too much fun with that one. Let's see what we got here. There's a new one. Oh, it's an old archive listing. Okay. All right. Yep, I'm familiar. I know which ones you're talking about now. I didn't realize it. Dean doesn't really seem to. I mean, their marketing's kind of strange because other than like the ML and the Razorbacks, and the ones that the models that a lot of people are really familiar with, they don't really advertise too much, particularly their newer models. They don't really like advertise what the actual model is very much. So, they advertise, the artist it's attached to. They advertise the, of course, the headstock, the big pointy headstock shapes and that kind of stuff. But oh well. Nobody asked me my opinion. My knees hurt, says it's 55 degrees Fahrenheit here today and overcast. What is air conditioning? I've got my air conditioning cranked up right now because it's 80-something degrees outside where I'm at. Probably asked this, but what Marshall head is that? JCM 900. JCM 900, 4100 dual reverb. Love that head. Love my favorite amp. Love that amp. Crazy Cook 678 says, Robert, have you heard of Nikki Sixx, Rob Zombie, and John Five's group called the L.A. Rats? I have not. Which it's kind of, if they're calling it the L.A. Rats with two T's, that's kind of funny because the actual band Rat. I'm surprised. Well, I guess Stephen Pearcy's probably and he's batshit crazy these days. I don't know, maybe not even aware. I don't know. Side thought. No, I have not. I have not been familiar with that band. But it sounds pretty cool. Those are three of my favorite musicians. L.A. Rat. L.A. L.A. Rat. Pulls up a bunch of old Rat videos. Stephen Pearcy, Warren DeMartini Rat. But that's all that comes up. Rat, of course, are based out of L.A. Nope. That's a new one. I will have to check into that. I'm not familiar with it. Big fan of all those dudes, though. Lucky Sevens Man said, have you ever listened to Dr. Rishi? I have no idea how to pronounce any of that. So, no. Not the least bit familiar. Skater S77 says, not sure if it's acoustic or electric. Not sure what you're referring to. Mitchell Tilley is here. Charles 75N's here. Let's see. Mikey Gabbard says I recently got EHX hot tubes, and it makes my JCM 900 sound amazing. That's a good overdrive pedal, man. The hot tubes, overdrive pedal called the hot tubes is what it is, and it's. I don't know what that pedal is based off of. I don't know if it's a tube screamer or anything like it. It doesn't sound like a tube screamer. I'm not sure what that one's based off of, if I'm being completely honest. But it is a good sounding overdrive. I don't have one, but I've heard it many, many times. OG says like 40 degrees here today. It was 85 the other day. I'm not sure. Not sure where any of you guys are. Or some of you, I guess, some of you I do know where you're located or thereabouts. But some of you, I'm not. I'm not all that familiar. 85 is a heat wave. That must be somewhere north of me. So, 85. This time of year is pretty. It's pretty average. And as we get into the summer, and really deep into the summer months, 85 is. I mean, that's like a cold, rainy day. So, it's not too hot here, but it's Indiana, we get up into the 90s consistently in the summertime. So, Pacific Northwest, Seattle. So that is north of here. That is north of here. Rainy as hell out there. Now, do you guys get a lot of snow in the winter months? I know it's the climate's a lot cooler there than it is here, in my part of the world, but and I know it rains like hell there all the time, but I don't know if you guys see more. I'm sure you see more rain than you do snow, but I don't know if how much snow you guys get at all. I know you get some, but I've never been to that part of the world. Ever. A lot of places in the country I've never been to. I'm kicking around. I haven't decided. Right now, I'm still heavily leaning towards not going. But I did decide to consider, just as of like this morning, consider I might go to Summer NAMM this year. Maybe, which is it's fairly close by. It's in Nashville, which is about a 4-hour drive from me. So it wouldn't be that bad of a haul. I don't know. I just I based on the shit like the Fuzz Factory video and who God knows how many other companies I may have pissed off with my channel over the years. I'm a little showing up at a public place like that where there's liable to be a lot of people that really hate me. It's kind of I don't know how I feel about that yet. Hey Robert, did you ever hear about those iron gear pickups? I did not. First I've heard of them. Yeah, see, maybe somebody brought them up here in the on the live stream a few weeks back or a month or two ago. But beyond that, I've never looked into them. So I've never looked into them. You guys got to remember, I don't live to swap out. Swap out pickups in all my guitars. I much prefer, prefer any guitar that I buy to be used with, to already have everything on it that I'm going to want to have on it. So, already have pickups that sound good and hardware, reliable hardware, that kind of stuff. So, no, my days of modding, enjoying modifying guitars all over the place are long gone. Okay. Crazy Cook 678 says it's called LA Rats with 1 T. All right, so LA Rats with 1 T. Let's see what pops up. Yeah, there we go. Right there, John 5, Rob Zombie, Nikki 6, and I don't know who the fourth dude is. They got them advertised as a supergroup, which they would be. LA Rats released first single. Nikki 6, Rob Zombie, John 5, and Tommy Clefidos. I've heard that name, but I don't know where I heard him. Released the first single cover of Jeff Mack Penn Country Standard. I've Been Everywhere. Quartet's rendition of the 59 classic will appear on the soundtrack of the upcoming Netflix movie The Ice Road, starring Liam Neeson. L.A. Rats are far from the first act to cover I've Been Everywhere. Australian country singer Lucky Star, yada yada yada. Get it? Okay, etc., etc. Okay. See what it sounds like. Interesting. Definitely, definitely hear John Five's country influence. Definitely hear John Five's country influence on that. Which if you did not know this about John Five, he actually spent, he's done a lot of session work in Nashville with a lot of country artists. So, I think he probably did more of that than anything. I don't know if that was before or after Marilyn Manson, but his stint in Marilyn Manson, that is. But he's done a lot of session work. So, of course, he's a phenomenal guitar player. I mean, I'd go so far as to say John Five's one of the best in the world. But that's what that sounds like to me. I'd give it a good. I don't know. I'll wait for the album, listen to the whole thing, but it's not bad. Rob Zombie's also been known to take cover songs and completely flip them on their heads. Let's see. My niece Hurts says, "Man, this is a Cash song. I'd rather hear the original." I don't. I think it was I don't think it was a Johnny Cash song. I think he said it was a. Of course, we've all. Jeff Mack. Jeff, Geoff. At least Jeff Mack wrote it, so I don't know who. I guess I don't know who the original recording artist of it was, but some dude named Jeff Mack wrote it. Oh well. There it is. Interesting. Yep, some of you guys don't seem to be too impressed. Rondo Bondo has joined the soiree. Interesting. What's up, dude? Seems like maybe Cash covered it. I don't know. Either way, meh. Yeah, I mean, you got a bunch of metal guys, that are, covering a country song. I mean, my hat's off to them for, doing something different. I think it's safe to say none of them would write a whole album that sounds like that. None of them. So, but especially for a supergroup band album like that, it's obviously it's a project. They'll do one record and that'll probably be the end of it, maybe two if the first one does well. So they'll start with a cover song of some kind, and just to get everybody's attention. So because there are going to be people out there that like it. So. Let's see. I hope the rest of the album is a lot better. I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it will be. Like somebody said. I mean, there's a lot of talent. With those three guys alone, there's a lot of talent in that band. So and I can't see Rob Zombie especially, I can't see him, putting out a whole record like that. Ian Nunez in the super chat says, "Why does Gretsch push those hard to remove stupid strap buttons on their customers? They suck." They've done that for years, man. That's and that's honestly that's just part of that's just Gretsch, man. That's just what they do. It's part of their personality is those weird. I don't know how you describe them, but those weird oddball strap buttons. Yeah, I mean, they're and honestly, I think the science. I've never owned a Gretsch. I like Gretsch guitars, but hollow bodies and some of my hollow bodies and stuff. I mean, they're really just not my thing. So I've never really owned a Gretsch. But the ones that all the ones that have those weird, like knurled dome style strap buttons. I think the idea is behind them is to double as a locking tuner or a locking strap lock kind of deal, so that obviously the purpose of them is so that your guitar doesn't pop off of the Strat, or your strap doesn't pop off of the guitar and your guitar goes crashing to the ground. Which is theoretically, I guess that's the idea with any guitar, but but those in particular. So Gretches are expensive, really expensive. So Mitchell Tilley says, "I wonder if there was ever a supergroup that made decent songs." I could think of several, to be honest with you. I would strongly advise you to go listen to Sons of Apollo. That is by far my favorite supergroup, and they put out. That's got just so you know, that's got Billy Sheehan, Ron Bumblefoot Thal. I don't know how the hell you pronounce his last name. It's spelled Thal. But Bumblefoot playing guitar. By the way, after hearing before hearing those records, I had no idea that he was that good. He is a phenomenal guitar player. But so you got Billy Sheehan, Bumblefoot, Mike Portnoy playing drums, and I can't remember who are the other two dudes. There's a singer and a keyboard player. The keyboard player sounds like Jordan Ruiz, but it's not him. Apollo. The keyboard player sounds like Jordan Ruiz from Dream Theater, but it's not. And the singer sounds like Miles Kennedy, but it's not. Jeff Scott Soto. Jeff Scott Soto is the singer, and Derek Sherinian is the keyboard synthesizer player. Anyway, that's their first album in particular, which is I can't remember the hell the name of that. Psychotic Symphony. First album's called Psychotic Symphony. And that record is one of those albums that I put in, listen to it front to back, don't skip a single track. And often, I bought it. I bought both of their records about a year ago, and that first album in particular, I cannot get enough of. Other supergroups that have done well that I have also liked over the years. Let's see. Damn Yankees were really good, actually. Let's not forget they had it. That's their song "Higher." That was a number one hit. Ted Nugent's only number one hit. So I mean, they had that was a great super group, and what was the one that VH1 did with it had Ted Nugent and Sebastian Bach and Scott Ian and who the hell was the drummer? Jason Bonham was the drummer, and then a dude named Evan Seinfeld from the band Biohazard was the bass player. Of all the bass players out there, I don't, everybody else must have been busy. I don't know why the hell they got that guy, but but everybody else, but still 4 out of 5 members anyway. Damocracy was the name of that band. I actually I really enjoyed that. Part of it was because I enjoyed the reality series that that VH1 had done at the same time. That was documenting the whole thing. I really enjoyed it. But, and all, like I said, 4 out of 5 of those guys were, 3 out of 5. Jason Bonham, I like Jason Bonham, but, but Ted Nugent in particular, I've always been a big fan of. Sebastian Bach, I've always been a really big fan of. Scott Ian, I've always been a really big fan of. So, and Doc McGee managed it. So, that one I thought was really good. That one I very much enjoyed. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Traveling Wilburys. You're right. There's another one. I forgot about that one. So long ago now, but I forgot about that one. Yeah, pretty safe to say Traveling Wilburys. Traveling Wilburys did a thing or two. Bad Company. Paul Adamek mentioned Bad Company or Asia. Were those bands really super groups? Bad Company in Asia? I thought they were just Bad Company in Asia. I didn't realize they were super groups. Hell, I guess Lev's, by that, I guess by that philosophy, Led Zeppelin, was considered a supergroup at some point because it was Jimmy Page, and all of a sudden he had this record contract that he was, literally he was stuck fulfilling whether he was, wanted to, whether he wanted it or not. And he recruited the other members of Led Zeppelin, who were all phenomenal musicians, and of course the rest is history. Let's see. Mike Mercer says, if you were going to spend $1,000 on a guitar right now, what would you buy? If I were going to spend $1,000 right now, probably would be a Schecter, or Music Man of some kind, like a Schecter. I don't know. I think what's it called? The C1 Elite or the SLS. They've got an Elite version that comes with the Sustainiac and neck through construction. Lot of specs on it. A lot of specs on it that has had my attention for a while. So I might buy that one. Also I don't know. I haven't bought a BC Rich in a while. I might see what BC Rich guitars out there that I can get a hold of for $1,000. There's a lot of them that are in that price range right now. So probably, and now that I think about it, that's probably what I would do. I'd probably buy one of the new Warlocks or the Mockingbirds or something. Augustin Lista says, greetings from Argentina. Greetings, sir, from here in the U.S. I wonder how the weather is down there in Argentina these days. Ian Nunez says they don't work, talking about the Gretsch strap buttons. Like I said, I think, the idea behind them was that they would secure your guitar. I didn't say how well they worked. But I think, the screw on they should be pretty easy to replace though, with something, a little bit more traditional, or even, if you go I'd probably go the Schaller or the Dunlop route myself. I think it's the same screw size, and, the Gretsch might even be a little bit smaller. My Knees Hurt says, have you seen Billy Sheehan's strap lock solution? I have not. I don't, I've been watching Billy Sheehan for years. I've never paid attention to, what kind of strap locks he uses though. I've been using Shallers forever, and I've always had good luck with them. So, and I used Dunlops for a long time before that. I always had good luck with those too. The only thing with the Dunlops is eventually the screws that hold the buttons onto the guitar, eventually those get loose, and it's not a big deal to go back in and tighten them up again, but sometimes they do tend to, when they get loose and you don't catch it, then you got the strap button on the guitar flopping around a little bit. It'll still hold, you just need to remember to tighten it up once you get to that point, or at your next opportunity, I should say. Trent Cersoni says, "Hey Robert, there's a crate FlexWave 120 watt head for sale in my area. Is it worth getting? It's 140 bucks, and I need a head." I remember I liked the FlexWaves. I didn't, that's one of the crate models, one of the crate amps I don't have quite as much experience with, but I've played a couple of them a few times, and they still, the thing about all those crate solid state heads, they all sound about the, they're the preamp sections are all pretty close, so. It'll, especially if it's a head, if you're going to be running it into a cabinet with some good speakers in it, 140 bucks, hell yes. Yeah, absolutely I'd spend that. Where else are you going to find a $140 head that, sounds halfway decent, so. Oops. My niece Hurt says, "Damn Yankees were a huge disappointment to me. Michael Jackson had hits too, not a fan." I understand that, but I don't know. I mean, damn, you can't deny the fact. I mean, Damn Yankees was a pretty successful supergroup, though. Whether you like them or not, they were a pretty successful supergroup. So, because there were a lot of people that did like them. And by the way, Michael Jackson is fucking awesome. I love Michael Jackson. Ian Nunez says, "Do bands that break up count as a supergroup?" I don't know. I suppose it depends on the band, to be honest. Paul Adamek said, "Rockstar." I think you're talking about Steel Dragon. You're right. Steel Dragon were great. Steel Dragon was a great band. If you're not familiar with them, that was the band that was formed for the movie Rockstar, starring Mark Wahlberg. But there was two. They had, in order to follow the story of the movie, there was two lead singers, and I wasn't familiar. I couldn't tell you who either one of them were off the top of my head. I wasn't familiar with either one of them. But the other, the rest of the band was Zakk Wylde. Let's see, Zakk Wylde, Jeff Pilson from Dokken, and Jason Bonham. Jason Bonham's kind of made a career out of playing drums in supergroups. And then the second guitar player in the movie was just an actor dude that didn't, I can't remember who the actor was. Anyway, but the band itself, if you went and bought I watched the movie when it came out, which is like, 98, 99 or something like that. So when the movie came out, I watched it and loved it. The first thing I did was I ran out and bought the soundtrack on CD, which I still have somewhere. And, there were, they did in fact have studio recordings of all the Steel Dragon songs from the movie on that CD. Man, I still listen to it. I still listen to those tracks, man. They were great. They are great. Let's see. Mikey Gabbard says, "My favorite super group is Me First and the Gimme Gimmes." Not familiar with them. They're a punk rock band doing covers. I don't know if you consider that to be too super. I'm not familiar with them. Let's see. James Severin is here. What's up, dude? Ian Nunez says, Chickenfoot. Chickenfoot was a good super group. That one was, of course, Sammy Hagar, Joe Satriani, Michael Anthony, and shit, who played drums? Chad Smith. It's Chad Smith from Red Hot Chili Peppers, a.k.a. Will Ferrell's, separated at birth, identical twin brother. It is scary how much Chad Smith and Will Ferrell look alike. Let's see. Augustin Lista says electronic with Barney from New Order and Johnny Marr. That one I'm not familiar with. Not in the hard rock vein. No, that's not a hard rock or metal supergroup. I guess, and I don't, when I'm thinking about supergroups, I mean, those are the ones that I gravitate towards, are the rock and the metal bands. The rock and metal supergroups have been put together. My knees hurt says, I don't mind stealing bread from the mouths of decadence. That's there's another one that you're talking about. Oh shit, the song was called Hunger Strike. Temple of the Dog. That was the one with that one was all members of Pearl Jam and Soundgarden. So that one, it had Eddie Vedder and Chris Cornell. Yeah, that. You're right. That was a great record. That was another one of those albums. If you're into that grunge, that grunge era stuff, that's another one you could just listen to from front to back. But that particular song was called Hunger Strike, which did really, really well. It was really popular. People still like that song. Jimmy Page and Paul Rogers had The Firm, which is true. Mike Mercer says, what do you think of EVH guitars? What's not to like? They're, Eddie's, I've seen a few clunkers from them. I gotta be honest. I've seen a few of them that, that came off, like when they were there for a while, some of them were being built in Japan. Some of the imports from Japan I saw, that came out, I saw had some pretty sharp frets, and, there's some definite QA issues with them, but, I think they were ones that they kind of blasted out in a hurry, because they wanted to get them out onto the shelves of stores, like just as Van Halen was starting a particular. It was the last tour that they did with David Lee Roth. The one where they toured for maybe 2 or 3 weeks worth of shows, and Eddie Van Halen and David Lee Roth realized that they still absolutely despise each other, and they they ended up canceling the rest of the tour, before they were, where they barely gotten started on it. So, so I think they rushed to get some of those EVH guitars out on the show, because I remember we got a bunch of them when I was at the store, and they shipped them to us direct. They didn't go through our warehouse or anything. Fender shipped them to us direct because they needed them on the shelves by such and such a date, because that tour was getting ready to come through Indianapolis. So they wanted to make sure that we had all those guitars in stock, and we did sell them. We didn't sell all of them right away, but we did sell them. Quite a few of them that weekend. Was our the show that they did here was one of the ones that they managed to get in before they canceled the tour. But yeah, I remember those. There was a few of those that I remember had some QA issues. But beyond that, I don't think there's anything wrong with them at all. They're, for the most part, Fender builds them for them, so they're licensed by Fender. Yeah, Fender, I think for the most part, Fender's quality right now is about as good as it's ever been. So, let's see. Augustin Lista says we're in the middle of autumn. It's raining and we're in full lockdown starting today for 2 weeks. Ooh. I wonder if hope that doesn't have anything to do with COVID. Let's see. My Needs Hurt says Billy Sheehan, fire hose for the strap. Use a fire hose. Fat washers and a screw. The strap is literally screwed to his base. No adjustments at all. Yeah. If it works, why not? I've always liked, like the Zakk Wylde, and Eddie Van Halen's, really Zakk Wylde, I guess more than anybody. He I guess Eddie did it too. They both took eye bolts, which are big, thick screws, and screwed them all the way into their guitars, and then, Zakk Wylde in particular would use carabiners to hold his guitars onto the eye bolts. Matter of fact, my Zakk Wylde Les Paul has that on there. Because the guy that I got it from, the guy that I got that guitar from decided to mod it that way because that's how Zakk has his guitar set up. And, he changed out quite a few things on it, but that one I left, and I put most of it back to stock, but that one I left alone because, honestly, it was just a better design. But yeah, that's actually a pretty good way to go about. If you're wanting to change out the strap locks, the strap buttons on your guitar, if you want about as locking and reliable as you can get, you can go to the hardware store, spend about $2 on screws and about $3 on carabiners. So you're what, $5 in, maybe $6 for for your eye bolts and your carabiners, and that guitar ain't moving. Jerry Jones says, why don't more music stores have Kramer guitars? Part of it just depends. All just depends, but it just depends on whether or not their marketing studies show that that they're going to be able to sell those things. That a particular store is going to be able to sell those things. So. A lot of, the way that works a lot of times is, when, say, for example, we'll use Kramer guitars as an example, that just were recently resurrected the right way. I'm not talking about that garbage resurrection of the brand that Gibson did back in like 2012 or whatever it was. They've been back out on the market for about a year or so now. That about right, give or take? And maybe a little more than that. So, they'll, the way Gibson will work that out with their vendors, particularly the big companies like Guitar Center that have multiple locations, they'll put those guitars in a few stores here around the country and see how they do. And if they take off, then, they'll restock them and see if they continue to do well. And then if they do well, then they'll put them in a few more stores out there, and then they'll repeat that process until they've got a pretty good idea of what the demand is. Some things manage to make their way out there to a lot of different stores on the planet, and other things decide that both the retailers and the vendor decide are going to be best left if they're available for online order only. So. It's all marketing. So it's all marketing. If there's a concern from the right people that a particular product is not going to sell well, in a retail location, they're not going to put it in there. So why? Because it's real estate that they could be using for something that they feel will sell well. But if you're patient, I'm willing to bet that you'll start seeing Kramers show up in more and more locations. The other thing you got to think about, is think about how far behind production is on just about everything. Production is way backed up on a lot of things. Especially the guitar market, especially for Gibson. So. That I'm sure that has a lot to do with it as well. So I'm willing to bet that they probably do plan to put more Kramers in more stores, around at least around the country. probably around several countries. But right now it's just, they likely don't have the guitars to put in those stores at the moment. So, I mean, that's production is a huge problem right now because everybody's behind. We just got to be patient with everything. That's the only way that we're gonna get through it. Mitchell Tilley says was the singer from Steel Panther in that one. I don't know which one you're referring to. Steel Panther is, I mean, that's not really a supergroup. That's that's more of a parody act. They're a but a damn good one. I mean, personally, I think Steel Panther great. But they definitely are parodying 80s rock stars. Paul Leonard Ewing says Jerry Jones, only Gibson dealers can have them, which that's also true. If you're not a Gibson dealer, you're not getting Kramer's. So, but I mean, Gibson are the largest guitar company in the world. I mean, Gibson have a lot of dealers. So I mean, finding a Gibson dealer is not hard. Vincent De La Rosa says, how do you like Panamanian coffee? It's actually delicious, sir. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Me and Mrs. J especially has very much enjoyed it. We haven't gotten into the second bag yet, but the first one's about first bag's about halfway gone already, I think. So we have very, very much agreed, very much enjoyed it. Thank you. Pardon me. Mitchell Tilley says it was a cameo scene. Yeah, I guess I don't know exactly which scene or which band you're referring to. I know you're talking about Steel Panther, but my knees hurt says watching the Anthrax documentary on YouTube. They're releasing 10 minutes every 2 days or so. It's great. I have heard that somebody brought that up last week, and I really enjoyed it. Somebody brought it up last week, or I'm sorry, I haven't had a chance to watch it. I should say I was reading Vincent's next comment. My brain, I'm not that coordinated, I guess, with being able to walk and chew gum. But somebody brought it up last week, and I kept meaning to check it out because I'm sure I would enjoy it, but I haven't gotten to do so yet. So, you guys got to think. I mean, I've spent most of my the last 2 days. Most of my spare time the last 2 days sleeping somewhere because of this, this stupid shot in the arm. As I'm sitting here though right now, I'm actually starting to feel a lot better, I think. So you guys have helped cure me. And Vince De La Rosa says I'll send you more next month. I'm not going to complain if you do. That would be awesome. Let's see. What do you think about the Charvel Sandema style HH Pagan Gold? Not familiar with that particular finish, but let's find out. Charvel Pagan Gold. Cool color, kind of. Charvel SoCal Pagan Gold. Is it still being made? Some used ones out there. I remember the model. I think I've seen the color a few times. I'm kind of, we're really, when it comes to gold guitars, like with Les Pauls, I love Les Pauls, but I hate gold tops. I am not big into gold tops at all. Not my thing. just don't. I just don't care for them. Even if I've gone on and on and on about how much I love my Music Man Majesty. Which is a finish. Their finish. That's a gold one that Music Man calls that finish Gold Mine. And that's as gold as it gets. Gold up and down. But and I've learned to love it. But I have. I struggled with whether or not I should buy that guitar because it took a while. It took quite a while, and for me to come around to am I going to be able to live with the color or not? Because I at first I wasn't afraid that I would, but I fell in love with the guitar, and then and also somebody brought it up to me that the gold one, the Gold Majesties are, you don't see those very often. The copper ones are everywhere. The red ones are everywhere. The blue ones are everywhere. The black ones are everywhere. The white ones are everywhere. And the Arctic Mist, Arctic Dream, whatever that weird finish is. Most of those are pretty easy to come by. But the gold one is one of the rarer finishes. You just don't see it very often. Finally, I was like, all right, it'd be kind of cool to have something that's something that's a little bit more unique from everybody else. So, so I learned to live with it. And, and I mean, I don't even pay attention to the color anymore because I love that guitar so much. But generally speaking, if I were looking at that Charvel and there was, I had the gold one on one, on the left and a red one or a green one or something like that on the right, I mean, chances are I'd probably take the other color. So I like gold, but I like gold hardware. I don't like gold paint. Vincent De La Rosa in the super chat as well. Thank you, sir. Very, very much. Appreciate that. Appreciate that very, very much. It says, I'm thinking about selling that Charvel. So you must have one of those pagan gold things. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, sure, it's a fine guitar. It's just not my favorite color. Says it's great, but I don't use it very often. My knees hurt. Says hate the color gold, red, black, silver, GTFO. I'm open-minded about most colors. I just honestly, it was probably the gold top that turned me off of it. When I first got into the guitar business, I was doing it for a living. There was my manager, the guy that hired me, loved gold tops. He thought gold tops were cool as shit. And for whatever reason, I took one look at it, and I mean, it just screamed, which I guess they're supposed to do. But I mean, at that time, I had really no interest in vintage gear at all. I mean, I like the modern stuff, and really that's a lot of that's still pretty true to this day, to be honest with you. But and I would look at a gold top, and it just screamed old 1950s to me. Which again, I guess that's what they're supposed to do, but that's for me, it just didn't register in a real positive way, at least in my own brain. Not that I thought there was anything wrong with with a gold top or anything. I don't, just not for me. So I saw Desert Burst Les Paul not too long after that. Now that guitar, that Les Paul was kick ass. That was a great finish. Skater S says that really is the ugliest gold guitar. I don't know if you're talking about the Les Paul gold top or not, but oh well. Let's see. Crazy Cook 678 says thanks for the show, but I have to run. I'm actually getting ready to bounce here, not too very, very shortly myself. So. Mars Winter says Hagstrom Ultra Swede Nitro Edition is supposed to be a snowboard with this guitar. Paid 200 Canadian. Not bad. What do you think of Hagstrom? Hagstrom, I think, great instruments. I like them quite a bit actually. They're I think they're all imports nowadays. They don't have I don't think they make anything that's where were they from? What were they? German company or something like that? I don't whatever it was. I think they were German. or somewhere in Europe. They don't, but I don't think they're making anything in their home base anymore. Now it's all imported from China and Korea and stuff. But that said, they're all pretty nice guitars. I really, really like the Phantomin, which is the Ghost signature. It's basically, it's like it's a Haxton version of a Gibson RD is what it is. But so I do like them. I'd actually like to have a Phantomin. To be honest, I think they're that cool. I played a lot of old Hackstroms too. Some of like some of the vintage ones. They're actually they're getting pretty expensive now. But yeah, no, I think I like Hackstrom guitars, man. I think they make great instruments. Vincent De La Rosa says you need to come to Panama. I'll do a live show from one of my country's beaches. Well, we are. I might be. I'm very possibly going to be in Mexico towards the end of the year, but that's probably about as close as I'm going to get to Panama. So, and when I go, to Mexico, I don't know. I might take my camera with me just because last time we went, I told myself I was going to go see if there were any. Like local music stores, guitar shops, or anything in, local, in Cancun where we were, and I never got around to it just because I was enjoying myself laying on the beach too much, and I didn't really want to mess with the camera. So, but this time I might force myself to do it. Says that's far away, refer to Mexico. I agree, but between from where I'm located, Mexico and Panama, Mexico is a lot closer. So all right, guys, I'm gonna go get going here. I've got to go run some errands, and I got quite a bit to do here. So I'm going to go start tackling all of that stuff. And yeah. New video goes up tomorrow. Hopefully I'll have some, I know there's a couple new videos going back. I'm trying to get back onto my regular video schedule because I took a few weeks off, and the ones that hadn't gone up yet, I stretched them out. So I'm kind of only doing a one video a week thing right now. And honestly, it's killing my channel analytics. So I'm hoping to get back to my regular schedule here sooner rather than later. But at the time, right, I'm getting there. It's just gonna take some time. So anyway, new video does go up tomorrow morning. So enjoy it, and you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend.